well-run company that I think is potential takeover candidate.
Can we ask you about your book while you're here, too?
Sure.
From the Bronx to Wall Street. It talks about what you've done over your life.
Yeah, well, you know, I've lived the American dream, and I'm trying to convince people like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and AOC that don't move away from capitalism. Capitalism is the best system. I get choked up when I talk about it, because basically, you know, my father came to America at the age of 12 as a plumber's apprentice, no education. I went to public school in the Bronx, high school in the Bronx, college in the Bronx, and then I got a short stint at Columbia Business School, which opened the door to Wall Street. I started my career on Wall Street the day after I got my MBA from Columbia. I had no money, I couldn't afford a vacation. I made a lot of money, and I'm giving it all back.
You're concerned about what happens?
I'm concerned about the lefties. They don't get it. You know, what made me write the book is I have 3 terrific grandchildren, and I want them to understand the merits of capitalism. And I want them to be capitalists with a heart. And I want to see the system stay, you know, centrist. We have a very, very bad political system. I said this in the last time it was the program with a sense of humor, but basically is true. In 1776, the population of the United States of America was 2.5 million people. 1 million were women that didn't have the right to vote, and 250,000 were slaves that didn't have the right to vote. So 1,250,000 voting population found Washington, you know, Jefferson, Hamilton, Madison, etc. We now have 330 million population, you know, a big percentage which can vote, and we found Trump and Biden. You know, I have a minority view. I don't think Trump or Biden will be the candidates in 2024. I don't know if that's wishful thinking, but, you know, I think both political parties are lacking.
Who do you think will be?
Somebody's got to come out of the woodwork. Like Clinton came out of the woodwork, Obama came out of the woodwork. Who could it be? I don't know. Right now, there's no Democrat.
What do you think of this idea? And I'm a card-carrying capitalist. I believe in it. But I worry, or I'm concerned that, you know, you look at polls in the United States, and most adults, I think it's 60 to 70% of adults with families and children, think that their children are not going to live a better life than they did. And I think that's very different than when you look at the polls probably in your generation at that time. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about that perception?
Well, the question really is there alternative better? You know, we're the tallest midget. You know, and you know, or another way of saying it is, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. We're the one-eyed man. We're the best system. Show me a system that's superior to capitalism. You know, the people. I wrote the book. I never finished the point. 30 to 40% of the young people today in the country think socialism preferred to capitalism. Yet I look at all these people coming up from South America, risking their lives to come to America. They get it, and I want my kids to get it.
You think they do?
Yeah, I think they do, yeah. Well, my oldest granddaughter, she's a genius. She graduated Stanford Phi Beta Kappa, works for the Low Income Housing Coalition. She's very liberal, very, very concerned about her fellow woman, and I have debates with her, but I respect her greatly. I told her 6 months ago there's a disgrace. They took a statue of Christopher Columbus and Thomas Jefferson down in New York, and they put a statue of George Floyd up in Newark, New Jersey, and who I consider a criminal. And her response, very intelligent response, was, we're not celebrating George Floyd for who he is, we're celebrating George Floyd because he sparked the movement. And so what's my rejoinder to her? I said, you know, Winston Churchill said, if you're not liberal when you're 20, you don't have a heart. If you're not conservative when you're 30, you don't have a brain. She's 25, and she has a big brain. We'll see what happens. But, you know, I'm a capitalist with a heart. You know, I wrote the book. All the proceeds go to charity. I'm not keeping a nickel for myself. And I just want to keep the system straight. You know, I've said in this program before, my hero is Ken Langone. And he's one of the great human beings out there. And I have a similar philosophy to him.